where the darkness breeds. Two shadows walk, bound by the sins of their deeds. Mireille stands cold in executioner's gaze, watching as Kirika is lost in a daze. The wind howls like ghosts from a time long erased, echoes of innocence now twisted and faced. Kirika's heart pounds, a soft drum of despair, as she approaches the doorway, the weight of her prayer. Contemplate may sing a farewell for me. In the silence of death we find our decree. With every heartbeat the past drips like rain, a melody woven with the threads of our pain. Can she find redemption in this bitter embrace, or is she just a pawn in this merciless chase? Nazarov lies dreaming, the blood on his hands, a life full of choices woven in dark strands. He wakes to the silence, the door creaks wide, and he sees in her eyes the storm he can't hide. Do you remember the lives that you've torn? He closes his eyes, accepting the scorn. Just like the Joker, he knows what he earns. In this dance of despair, the world slowly burns. Contemplate may sing a farewell for me. In the silence of death we find our decree. With every heartbeat the past drips like rain, a melody woven with the threads of our pain. Can she find redemption in this bitter embrace, or is she just a pawn in this merciless chase? Church bathed in blood, candles flicker like memories lost in the flood. She feels their choices, the sins intertwined, knowing that Kirika's fate is now aligned. In a moment of ecstasy she senses the sin. As Kirika pulls the trigger, the darkness begins. A bullet of judgment, a whisper of pain. In the echoes of winter they're never the same. Contemplate may sing a farewell for me. In the silence of death we find our decree. With every heartbeat the past drips like rain, a melody woven with the threads of our pain. Can she find redemption in this bitter embrace, or is she just a pawn in this merciless chase? So there she stands with shadows around, a heart heavy laden, no solace to be found. The innocence lost and the price that they pay. In the silence of winter they fade far away. With a life full of choices and paths left to tread, in the weight of a winter's heart they bury the dead.
In the episode Lost Kitten from Noir, we are drawn into a world where the past casts long shadows over the present, echoing the haunting realities of human existence. The landscape of Russia unfolds before us, a cold and desolate canvas painted in hues of gray and white, where the wind carries the weight of unspoken sorrows. Here we witness not merely an act of violence, but the very essence of humanity's struggle with its own darker impulses. The juxtaposition of beauty and brutality is a poignant reminder of the duality that defines our existence. Yuri Nazarov, the former KGB agent, stands as a figure emblematic of the moral complexities we often shy away from confronting. As he gazes out at the atrocities he once orchestrated, we are invited to ponder the nature of redemption. Can one truly atone for the sins of the past, or are we forever bound by the chains of our choices? This episode raises the unrelenting question of whether redemption holds any meaning when it is tainted by the blood of innocence. Nazarov, in his later years, seeks to mend the fabric of his fractured humanity by aiding the downtrodden. Yet we are left to wonder, does the act of giving food to the hungry absolve him of the horrors he once enacted? The arrival of Kirika, a budding assassin grappling with her own identity, creates an intricate tapestry of emotions. Her nurturing of the lost kitten symbolizes a flicker of hope amidst the backdrop of despair. Here is a creature, innocent and vulnerable, offering a stark contrast to the violence that surrounds her. In caring for the kitten, Kirika momentarily escapes the weight of her lethal destiny, yet the encounter with Nazarov becomes a crucible for her burgeoning conscience. As Kirika wrestles with the implications of her mission, her resolve begins to waver. The heartache of her decision is palpable, reminiscent of Baldwin's explorations of the human condition, where love and loss are inextricable. Kirika's internal conflict embodies a fundamental truth, that the path to self-discovery is fraught with pain and sacrifice. The question lingers: must one destroy in order to find oneself? The philosophical undercurrents of Noir echo the sentiments of Baldwin, who posited that understanding oneself is an act of courage. In Kirika's journey, we see the struggle not only to execute a task, but to reconcile the act of killing with her moral compass. Each life taken is a thread severed from the intricate weave of existence, and in the cold expanse of the Russian wilderness, we are reminded that every action carries the weight of consequence. As the narrative unfolds, we witness the heartbreaking collision of past and present, where every character is haunted by their choices. The animation, devoid of blood yet saturated with the implications of violence, serves as a haunting reminder of the cost of human indifference. In a world where the lines between good and evil blur, the characters in Lost Kitten become vessels for our own introspection, forcing us to confront the reality of our own moral failings. In this emotional landscape, we find a reflection of our struggles, our desires for connection, and the aching void that often accompanies our quest for redemption. The episode encapsulates a profound truth, that the journey towards finding oneself is riddled with heartbreak. Yet it is within that heartbreak that we may discover the essence of what it means to be human, a poignant dance between light and shadow, love and loss, hope and despair. The episode begins with a stark and haunting flashback that immerses the viewer in the chilling atmosphere of a Russian concentration camp. The grayish blue and white palette, dominated by snow, creates a bleak backdrop that emphasizes the desolation of the landscape. The sound design, only the wind and distant gunshots, serves to amplify the tension and despair. As we witness the horrific executions of the Tashkil minority, the absence of blood in the animation is striking. While the violence is present, it is portrayed in a way that adheres to censorship guidelines, leaving the brutality implied rather than explicit. This choice compels the audience to confront the horror of the actions taking place without being desensitized by graphic imagery. The executions, depicted with cold efficiency, highlight the dehumanization of the victims and the moral decay of those in power. The closing shot of Yuri Nazarov, dressed as an officer and gazing out at the atrocities, is a poignant moment that encapsulates the episode's exploration of guilt and complicity. His expression reveals the weight of his past actions, and we are left to ponder the internal conflict that he must face. The man who has orchestrated violence now witnesses the consequences of his decisions. This moment serves as a reminder that the past is never truly behind us, and the burden of our choices can linger long into the future. Through this powerful opening, the episode establishes its central themes of morality, redemption, and the complexity of human nature. It invites the audience to reflect on the nature of justice and whether true atonement is possible after committing unspeakable acts. The transition from the chilling opening scene to Kirika and Marielle's arrival in the present day is beautifully executed. The vibrant cityscape of Russia, depicted in warm orange hues reminiscent of watercolor paintings, contrasts sharply with the earlier somber tones. This artistic choice not only highlights the beauty of the location, but also serves to emphasize the juxtaposition between past horrors and present life. The introduction of the kitten adds layers of symbolism. The kitten on the blood-red car represents innocence, juxtaposed against Kirika's own violent past. The contrasting eye colors between Kirika and the kitten deepen this thematic exploration, suggesting a connection between their experiences. Both are marked by loss and a search for identity. Kirika's red eyes symbolize her bloodshed and the violence she's associated with, while the kitten's blue eyes might reflect her own sadness and longing for something pure. Marielle's protective demeanor toward Kirika is crucial for establishing their dynamic. Her role as a mentor and older sister figure is underscored by her concern for Kirika's safety in a world where they must remain vigilant. The tension between Marielle's harshness and her underlying care reflects the complexities of their relationship, especially given Kirika's amnesia and lack of social awareness. The montage depicting Yuri Nazarov's charitable acts paints a complex portrait of a man trying to atone for his past. The visuals of him feeding the destitute and receiving their blessings create a stark contrast to the man he once was. Marielle's cold revelations about his history as a KGB butcher add depth to the narrative, revealing the moral ambiguity surrounding Nazarov's character. The juxtaposition of his current good deeds against his past atrocities prompts the audience to question whether true redemption is achievable. Kirika's connection with the kitten and her desire to care for it represent her yearning for a sense of identity and belonging, which she lacks due to her amnesia. The moments of comic relief, particularly involving the kitten, offer balance to the darker themes of the series, reminding viewers of the humanity that still exists within both Kirika and Marielle, despite their assassin lifestyles. The scenes at the restaurant and the cat licking up milk serve to reinforce their shared humanity and the bond they are forming, even in a world filled with darkness. Kirika's internal struggle is palpable, especially in the context of her search for identity. Her alias is a constant reminder of her lost past. The mention of the flashback to episode 5 adds an interesting layer, as it connects the narrative threads while also showcasing the emotional weight carried by both characters. Marielle's promise to kill Kirika if she uncovers the truth about her past adds an element of tension and foreshadowing, setting the stage for the complexities of their relationship. This blend of dark themes, character development, and moments of levity creates a rich tapestry that engages the audience while exploring profound questions about morality, identity, and redemption. In the heart of the park, Kirika stands before the car, a silent witness to her yearning. "I wish I knew your name," she whispers, a simple wish that echoes the depths of her fractured identity. In this moment, Nazarov interjects, "Prince Mishkin," a name that carries the weight of history, innocence, and perhaps a fragment of hope. Their eyes meet, a fleeting connection laden with subtext. He sees her as a regular human being, while she grapples with the grim reality of her mission, to extinguish his life. It is a tension laced with irony, a cruel foreshadowing of the choices that await her. Yet, as the cat approaches Nazarov, the air thick with unspoken words dissipates momentarily, breaking the tension that binds them. His gratitude toward Kirika for caring for the creature is imbued with a bittersweet resonance. In their goodbye, Kirika's gesture is imbued with both tenderness and tragedy, a whisper of what could have been. But fate, ever cruel, lurks in the shadows. Moments later, as he collapses clutching his chest, the scene transforms. Kirika's instinct takes over. She becomes a concerned nurse, urging him to fight, to stay awake. The irony is palpable. She saves the life of the very man she is destined to kill. This interplay of light and dark is masterfully woven throughout the episode, illuminating the complexity of Kirika's character. She is not merely a sociopathic killer. Instead, we witness the struggle of a young woman caught in the throes of her identity crisis. In her, we see the universal struggle of many, the relentless search for self amidst the chaos of existence. The tragedy deepens as we understand that Kirika, a sympathetic villain, is destined to make a heartbreaking choice that will forever alter her path. As the narrative unfolds, we are thrust into the stark reality of Nazarov's impending demise. The close-up of the doctor injecting medication into his arm is a jarring image, reminiscent of Kubrick's Unsettling Cuts, a stark reminder of mortality. The doctor's words hang heavy in the air, foreshadowing the inevitable. He doesn't have long to live. In this moment, we are acutely aware of the clock ticking down, a countdown that amplifies the suspense and sorrow. We then shift to the cat, playful yet oblivious, knocking over a frame that reveals a hidden photograph of Nazarov as a child, a snapshot of innocence obscured by the weight of his choices. The contrast between the vibrant life of the cat and the somber reality of the photograph underscores the pervasive melancholy of the series. We are reminded of the passage of time, the shadows of the past lingering like ghosts, and the tragic irony of a man whose life was once filled with promise, now reduced to the remnants of his own making. As a knock on the door heralds the arrival of those Nazarov has fed, we witness a striking moment of gratitude. The older woman's hands clasp around Kirika's arm, her words of benediction. "Oh, God bless you." Herein lies a profound, jarring truth. A villain, steeped in sin, receives praise for an act of kindness. It is a moment that pierces through the darkness, revealing the flickers of light that exist even within the most flawed of souls. This scene encapsulates a haunting truth. In the depths of despair, there exists the potential for goodness. Kirika's existence is a tragic testament to what could have been, a life dedicated to healing rather than harm, to compassion rather than cruelty. The thematic undercurrent resonates deeply. Even in the most terrible among us, there lies a spark of humanity waiting to be ignited. As the story unfolds, we are left to ponder the implications of these characters' choices, the weight of their actions looming large. Kirika's journey is one of painful contradictions, a reflection of the struggle between duty and desire, darkness and light. It is a narrative that unfolds with the grace of a tragic ballet, each movement steeped in sorrow, yet illuminated by the possibility of redemption. This next scene deepens the emotional landscape established earlier, enveloping Kirika in a profound introspection that speaks to the heart of her struggle. As she walks home, the camera captures a close-up of her eyes, heavy with sadness and reflection. The frown etched on her face tells a story of turmoil, encapsulating the weight of recent memories. The image of Nazarov, breathless and medicated, juxtaposed with the tearful joy of the old woman whose life she momentarily saved. The wind whispers through the trees, an unsettling sound reminiscent of the death camp, layering the scene with an oppressive subtext that cannot be ignored. As Yuki Kajura's haunting Salva Nos plays, the lyrics resonate deeply within the context of Kirika's world. The prayerful lament echoes a desire for release from the burdens of an assassin's life, capturing the essence of T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. Here, life teeters on the precipice of existence and oblivion, encapsulating the duality of wanting to be alive, yet yearning for peace in death. This transcendent sadness envelops the scene, wrapping around Kirika like a shroud as she navigates her internal conflict. When Prince Mishkin appears behind her, the gravity of her decision weighs heavily. The urgency to kill him now, or risk never doing so, intensifies the battle within her, a clash between the heart of an assassin and the heart of a reluctant savior. This moment crystallizes the essence of her plight, a tragic figure caught in the crosshairs of duty and compassion. Returning to Nazarov's place, Kirika finds herself outside his window, peering in with a makeup mirror, a moment that reveals not just her surroundings, but her fractured self. The reflection staring back is a poignant reminder of her own despair, a soul ensnared in a personal hell. Then, the revelation of children keeping Nazarov company shatters her resolve, complicating her mission with an unbearable heaviness. As she prepares to take his life, the innocence of the children's words pierces through the darkness. "I hope you get better soon. Your cooking is so good." They speak to him as one might to a beloved grandfather, blind to the violence that looms, creating a chilling contrast to Kirika's intentions. The echoes of Salvanos return, morphing into a haunting choir that underscores the gravity of the moment, imbuing the scene with a somber, church-like resonance. When Nazarov, acutely aware of the danger, glances toward the window, the tension escalates. The close-up of his face reveals a life steeped in suffering and regret, eyes reflecting a profound understanding of the inevitability of death. The slow zoom draws us closer to his reality, the orange hue of the room, reminiscent of dried blood, enveloping him in a haze that mirrors the tears threatening to spill. In the final moments, as the children's innocent questions pierce the somber atmosphere, "Sir, what is wrong?" we are left to ponder the unspoken thoughts that swirl in Nazarov's mind. Does he grasp the weight of his impending fate? Can he reconcile the life he has lived with the yearning for redemption that remains unfulfilled? This scene encapsulates a profound truth, that no matter the atrocities committed, the human spirit still longs to put goodness into the world. It is a delicate balance of sorrow and hope, a reminder that even in the darkest of times, the flicker of kindness can illuminate the shadows of despair. The tragedy of Kirika and Nazarov unfolds like a haunting melody, each note resonating with the weight of their choices, leaving us to grapple with the complexities of their intertwined fates. This narrative encapsulates the profound emotional and philosophical layers woven into the arcs of Kirika and Nazarov, highlighting the intricacies of their experiences and the overarching themes of loss, atonement, the cycle of violence, and the quest for redemption. The dialogue between Kirika and Mireille serves as a poignant exploration of the human soul's complexities. Mireille's observation that although Kirika excels in multiple languages and is a skilled assassin, she lacks knowledge of Russian literature, underscores a deeper truth. Understanding the human experience requires more than mere skill or intellect. Kirika's response, "I know that," astonishes Mireille, revealing that Kirika possesses her own insights into the nature of suffering and the human condition. This moment exemplifies the intricate dynamic between the two characters, demonstrating that Kirika, despite her youth and the weight of her past, has an awareness of the moral complexities that Mireille herself grapples with. Kirika's metaphor of Nazarov, waiting for the snow to fall, is rich with meaning. Initially interpreted as a reference to sins, it evolves into a broader metaphor for the accumulation of time and the inevitability of death. It suggests that Nazarov is not only aware of his past misdeeds, but is also resigned to the consequences of his actions. The imagery of snow evokes a sense of coldness and isolation, emphasizing the somber reality that he faces. The idea that he is waiting for enough snow to accumulate can symbolize the burdens he carries, his sins, his memories, and ultimately his lifespan. It raises the question of whether he seeks redemption through self-sacrifice or simply awaits the end of his suffering. Nazarov's backstory unfolds as a tragic tapestry of violence and loss. As a child, he witnessed the brutal murder of his family at the hands of the Tashkil, an experience that indelibly marked his psyche and shaped his path toward vengeance. The haunting memories of gunshots and the loss of innocence serve as a powerful metaphor for the cycle of hatred and violence that perpetuates suffering in the world. This mirrors themes often explored in stories like Naruto, where the cycle of vengeance perpetuates a never-ending spiral of pain. The emotional weight of Nazarov's past is further amplified by the haunting musical score, a combination of a sad piano, organ, and distorted synthesizer sounds that reflect his inner turmoil. This choice of instrumentation creates an atmosphere that resonates with the viewer, emphasizing the sadness of his story and the broader implications of his actions. The music becomes a character in itself, embodying the sorrowful essence of the narrative. Mireille's reflections on Nazarov's affiliation with the Balkuts and the ongoing bloodshed highlight the complexity of their world, where the lines between justice and revenge blur. She articulates the timeless nature of conflict, how the blood flows and the origins of hatred become obscured over time, much like the feuding families in Romeo and Juliet. This historical context enriches the narrative, underscoring the idea that cycles of violence often lead to a loss of humanity on all sides. As Kirika grapples with the moral implications of their mission, her decision to kill Nazarov, despite her initial astonishment at the revelation of his terminal illness, reflects a deep sense of duty and obligation. Her commitment to their work as assassins is both a burden and a means of seeking resolution for the chaos that surrounds them. The emotional gravity of this decision is palpable, capturing the essence of their existence in a world defined by tragedy and loss. Ultimately, this scene is a powerful meditation on the nature of atonement and the impossibility of undoing past sins. While Nazarov may seek to put good into the world, the scars of his actions remain, raising the question of whether true forgiveness can ever be attained. The narrative suggests that while the past is immutable, the potential for change exists in the present, urging characters like Kirika and Nazarov to strive for a better future, even amid overwhelming sorrow. This complex interplay of themes, suffering, redemption, and the cyclical nature of violence creates a rich tapestry that resonates deeply with viewers, making this scene a profound exploration of the human experience and the emotional landscape of its characters. The haunting beauty of their struggles and the philosophical questions they raise linger long after the episode ends, inviting reflection on the nature of humanity itself. In the final scene, Kirika and Mireille approach Nazarov, the snow falling around them like a shroud, muffling the world outside. The chilling wind howls, reminiscent of the cries from concentration camps, echoing the anguish woven into the fabric of their lives. When Kirika opens the door, she is met with the weight of an irrevocable choice. The gun is aimed, and with a final shot, the air thickens with the horror of what has been decided. It's a deeply disturbing tableau, for Mireille stands as a witness, an executioner in her own right, her expression one of cold indifference, a reminder to Kirika to guard her heart against the encroaching darkness. As the scene unfolds, Mireille's gaze never wavers, as if urging Kirika to leave behind the remnants of her humanity. Yet, in the shadows that envelop Kirika, there lies a flicker of sadness, a recognition of the tragic path she has chosen. Prince Mishkin's flight from the house serves as a haunting metaphor for the innocence that has been irrevocably lost, signaling to us that the vestiges of their former selves are now buried deep, foreshadowing a descent into a darker abyss. As they make their way to the house, we are intercut with Altina, the high priestess of the Soldats, cloaked in the blood-red hues of an ancient church, praying amidst the flickering candles. There is a sense of foreboding. Her psychic connection to Kirika and Mireille's impending act is palpable. The three assassins of the Soldats are prophets in their own right, and killing Nazarov is a test of their devotion. When Kirika pulls the trigger, the bullet finds its mark, and Altina experiences a moment of religious ecstasy, a twisted awakening as she realizes that Kirika is stepping further into the realm of sin, a path integral to her role as a prophetess. As Nazarov lies awake in bed, he is startled by the sight of Kirika, gun drawn. Yet, in that moment of confrontation, he closes his eyes, accepting the fate that awaits him. Like a scene plucked from the Joker's twisted philosophy, he understands that he is receiving what he fucking deserves. It is a sorrowful acceptance. So many in this world commit atrocities, indifferent to the wreckage they leave behind. Yet, there are those who grapple with their sins, who seek atonement, burdened by the weight of their choices. Nazarov's death is not a release, but a grim acknowledgement of the blood that stains his hands. As they walk toward his house, the haunting strains of Yuki Kajura's Canta per me play softly, a melancholic hymn that underscores the tragedy of their actions. Sing a farewell for me, that sweet sound of past days, always remember me. The lyrics resonate with a profound sadness, encapsulating the notion of death as a bittersweet release, a fitting requiem for those who, like Nazarov, are bound by their sins. The episode becomes a poignant meditation on the nature of morality, the duality of humanity, and the inescapable cycle of violence. This episode is powerful not only for its thematic depth, but for its ability to portray its characters as both killers and flawed souls wrestling with their humanity. The transcendent sadness permeates every frame, creating an experience that is as haunting as it is engaging. While it may alienate some with its relentless darkness, it stands as a testament to the complexities of human nature, the struggle between kindness and cruelty, between redemption and damnation. In a series renowned for its bleakness, this episode shines as a beacon of thematic richness, sparking conversations about personal responsibility, the cycle of hate, and the possibility of redemption. It is a narrative that lingers, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable truths of our own existence, a powerful exploration of the human condition, where every choice carries the weight of 1,000 lives lost.